Hello friends, this video is going to touch on the idea of the value of a spiritual director, advisor, coach, so many names for it. Just pointing you back to the idea of having somebody who can help hopefully assist you beyond your current limitations, that hopefully has been there and already been through the process and learned the value of techniques and practices to help get you there. There are many things a person can look into direction for: relationships, past traumas, difficulty with forgiveness, difficulty with self-esteem, anxiety, depression, grief, losing a loved one, stress. Things like learning about your ego, how to surrender, letting go. And a lot of what we actually have going on within us that we might not understand has a spiritual connection to it. Such as energy blockages, pains, illnesses. All of these things can have that spiritual connection that we don't necessarily get taught to think about or consider, at least here in the West, as much. We feel something physical and we think that it's completely physical without understanding that there might be something underlying, and it might very well be spiritual. It can be helpful to speak to a spiritual advisor as often as you need to, really. It's nice to have a sounding board with somebody who can understand you and have compassion for you and not judge you, and help raise your awareness to some options that you didn't consider before because maybe you weren't made aware of those options. Some of the underlying spiritual imbalances or disconnections that we have, that might take some work, some genuine work. But these are, as I understand them and as I hold them, they represent our gifts. They are how we actually truly develop. Some would say why we're here is to learn these tools to help us develop. Well, not to learn the tools, but to develop. And in essence, we need the tools at certain points. Anyways, when considering spiritual guidance or a spiritual advisor, there are some things to consider. There may be value in a certain advisor to a certain point. Then you may be beyond their understanding. So consider this and measure this as you're choosing who to work with. I see a lot of value in not becoming attached to an advisor. This isn't... We hear the word guru a lot, and I think that we try to almost give that word more meaning, more value. We fantasize about a guru. We glorify the idea of a guru. basic spirituality points you back to yourself. And it's your spirit. You are the authority. Your connected self is the authority. And that is your guru. So everybody who is pointing you truthfully should be pointing you back to yourself, not creating a dependence on them as an advisor, them as a teacher. It should always be going back to you, and not glorifying themselves as an anything. They offer you value in direction, and that direction should always lead back to yourself and your source. So be careful for those that are self-appointed gurus, and beyond that, be aware that you're not giving your power to somebody else. All you're requesting is direction back home, back to yourself. If you happen to find that you're part of a group, or there's a spiritual teacher, and now you're becoming aware of that teacher's limitations, it is fine to begin to detach from your attachment or your investment in that group. You can still use what was beneficial and served your spiritual development. Some teachers, just because they don't know everything, doesn't mean that there wasn't any value at all. You can take what is valuable and what is applicable and keep it as your practice, so long as it doesn't give your power away to somebody else. It should point you home, it should point you inward, and empower yourself. You want to be aware of teachers that might be controlling to a sense, sometimes as money. And this doesn't mean if somebody charges a fee for a session, like myself. It's more about controlling your finances. Some of my previous teachers have mentioned controlling sex lives, relationships, all of these types of things. They can offer direction, but as soon as it becomes more than that, that is a signal that they're not just offering information, they're over-involved, so to speak, and to pull back, for you to pull back. We don't only use spiritual advisors for our benefit. I would encourage everybody to find some spiritually inspiring material, whether it's YouTube videos you might look into, depending on your level. There's so many levels of awareness out there, and find something that resonates with you currently, and you'll continue to grow as you apply these materials. But if you keep these materials in your influencing you every day, what you'll find is it keeps your compass pointed towards a certain direction, as opposed to getting up and letting whatever the world brings to you influence you. You're creating the influence, and you're nurturing that influence, and you're supporting that influence. Some teachers that I could maybe recommend might be, and you can find these teachers on YouTube. You know, it's a great place just if you're around the house and you're even doing chores. It's a great time to put on something spiritually inspiring and motivating. David R. Hawkins would be one. A Course in Miracles would be another. Carolyn Miss, M-Y-S-S, is another. Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj. Those are a couple good ones to start out with. Some of them are more advanced than others, but don't be intimidated. It is only the piece of you that doesn't understand any better that's intimidated, which is the ego. This is the biggest part of our self-development, is not letting our limitations speak for our choices any longer. So the sooner we can develop our awareness to letting the ego's suggestions go and basing our decisions on our potential and our direction, the sooner we're going to achieve that, and the less struggle it's going to be because we stop listening to the source of our struggling, which is the ego. In closing, I'd like to encourage you to make steps towards providing this spiritual daily influence today. It's not hard. YouTube's your friend. You can find many videos. You can contact me if you're interested in a guidance session, and we can see what you're working on. There's other teachers and advisors out there. It does not have to be me. Whoever you resonate with, just be aware of some of the previous things I mentioned in this video, so you kind of have an idea of what you're looking for. You want to find somebody you resonate with, but at the same time you don't want to find somebody who supports your limitations and has you spinning your wheels. You're looking for progress and connection here and development. That should be it, friends. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.